What's up, everybody? This is Jose with Oakland Latinos United, aka Oakland Latinos Unidos, out here in beautiful Hayward, Northside Hayward, California, at Meeks Park, over here in the 8th Street barrio, kicking back out here in Cherryland with my homeboy Mazatl from San Joaquin Valley, from the Central Valley, now a Bay Area resident, and I'm experimenting with something new on Oakland Latinos United. I've said in the past that I wanted to move forward and do new things on the channel. So I'm going to start having guests from time to time. And he would be my first official guest. He's a homie I met through the internet, and we've been cool ever since. And his name is Mazatl. And give us a brief introduction of who you are and where you're from.
First and foremost, to everybody out there, I want to say what's up. Greetings to everybody out there. And salutations. I'm a veteran. I'm a university student right now. And more importantly, I'm a resident out here, just expanding my horizons to be a better person.
Okay, and where are you from originally?
I grew up in the San Joaquin Valley. I moved around between Merced, Modesto, and the surrounding cities, and even out of state, looking for opportunities to make it better through schooling, Job Corps, and the United States Marines.
What do you self-identify as?
Indigenous, Native.
Do you rep as a Chicano as well?
I rep Chicano, Mexica, basically as a brown person.
Okay. And the main topic that we want to talk about, and we want to talk about different issues on it, is about PTSD. And you being a military vet, and you suffering from PTSD yourself, you've told me that a lot of people in the barrios, in the hoods of Oakland, Hayward, Modesto, or any hood in the United States suffer from PTSD. But a lot of times we're in denial of it. You want to speak a little bit more on that?
Exactly. Being in denial means that you don't address the problem, and you blame other people for your suffering. Oh, it's the fucking white man. Oh, these fucking black people. My parents. These immigrants. That's denial. PTSD that manifests itself from overeating, from being very violent, having broken sleep, not trusting people, being on defense, like the Raiders, and having a chip on your shoulder where the world owes you.
Okay, would you say that that PTSD is basically, how can I say, when people react instead of thinking about it? Like, give a perfect example, like if you're at the store and someone's in your way and you tell them, excuse me, and they flip out on you like, who you talking to? Where you from, fool? You know what I mean? Break yourself, you know what I mean? Do you think that is a part of PTSD?
It is.
Okay? And do you think that that is the reason why a lot of our youth, whether they're black and brown youth, end up in San Quentin, Santa Rita, whatever prisons out there?
Correct. Because they don't know how to respond any differently. They don't know how to ignore it and not take things personal as a personal attack on them or their loved ones. And having that gangster mentality is, I'm not going to let myself get punked. I'm going to be the predator instead of the prey.
And basically that's the reason why a lot of the youth get killed on the street as well.
That's right. There's a lot more gunplay than coming straight from the shoulders with the plexiglass.
Another thing I wanted to talk to you about, you've told me in the past that Chicano veterans, when they come back, or Raza veterans, when they come back to the States, a lot of people like in the Bay Area or even in other circles in the California don't want to work with them when they find out they're vets. Especially a lot of people who are in the political or like activist scene. You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
It's not a priority issue to deal with somebody who's a veteran from Colombia or a veteran from the United States. If the person is struggling with PTSD and they're deep in prostitution and alcoholism and drugs, then that person is still in denial and not wanting to get help. And if he wants to work with people in the political climate, if it's not beneficial for them or the community members, people will just ostracize them because it's not older women, younger kids, newly arrived immigrants, or somebody defenseless that needs representation because they don't know the language.
Okay, and do you feel there should be more circles to help out veterans especially Chicano and Latino raza veterans.
Yes, but those circles need to be created by the people in the community themselves, and not just for veterans, but people from Colombia military, Salvador military, street gangs, prison incarceration, or people that just have PTSD because they had an uncle or their family that was violent towards them or in prison or street gangs.
So driving around earlier, we were driving in Northside Hayward, and we seen like 4 or 5 memorials for dead youth. So obviously youth are getting killed. We've seen graffiti on the walls. And do you think, like, how can I say, poverty, ignorance, and even PTSD is one of the reasons these kids join these street organizations?
All of the above and more. Loneliness, depression, PTSD, lack of parents, lack of supervision, not giving a fuck. I think one of the cliques out here is called Don't Give a Fuck.
Oh yeah, DGF.
So if you don't give a fuck about yourself and you're like, fuck it, fuck the world, whether your parents are there or not, whether you're rich or you're not, it's indoctrination. It's somebody's mentality. When you fight a war in Afghanistan or Vietnam, you can never kill everybody because you can't kill what people are thinking in their mind.
So you originally being from the Central Valley, you said that you have seen a lot of people that moved from the Bay Area because of the gentrification, the violence. And you say that a lot of them go out there for a better life, but sometimes they continue gangbanging out there, selling dope, pulling licks. You know what I mean? Even at some point, still claiming their hood in Oakland or Hayward. You even told me a guy hit you up claiming 8th Street, which is a gang from here, from Northside Hayward, way out in Modesto. So you want to elaborate on all those things?
Yes. It goes back to the simple fact that these people are indoctrinated to react. I'm from the Bay Area, so I'm better than you. I'm from fucking East Side San Jose, East Oakland. I'm from Northside Hayward. So the flex is, I have to push that narrative or that bully mentality on you because I don't trust you. You don't know me. So I'm gonna come in their defense, and that's the way they act because people in their neighborhood and their household act like that. So their mindset is off.
You said one time a guy from 8th Street hit you up in Modesto.
Yeah, we were jogging. Jumps out of a car and says, "Hey man, you bang, you border brother?" And I try to ignore the dude, and he gets in front of me and he says, "I'm from Northside Hayward," and lifts up his shirt. It shows a tattoo with Northside Hayward. And I say, "Hey man, I don't give a fuck about that, but if you want, we can fucking chunk him."
Yeah.
Luckily, my homie had been locked up with the dude, and he quelled the situation. I told the dude, "You're not in Hayward." I think I dismantled him, disarmed him when I mentioned he wasn't in Hayward, and we didn't bang. Yeah. And I wasn't scared of him.
Yeah, and besides that, you said a lot of other guys who were like from Oakland moved out there and also would do like the same thing, get into trouble, gangbang, sell drugs, and all that stuff.
Yeah, they would put on anything Oakland A's jersey or hat or Raiders, and they would steal, do beer runs, gangbang on people, tag, and they will always say, "This is for East Oakland."
Yeah, even though they're way out in Modesto.
Even though they're way out in the Central Valley, they would sock somebody and say, "I'm from East Oakland."
Yeah. Yeah, that's a shame. You know, the people, because I lived in Sacramento for a couple of years, and I ain't gonna lie, I kind of had the mentality, I'm from Oakland, I've seen it all. You know, even though Sacramento has its hood too. But I never went out there with the mentality of, I'm from Oakland, I'm gonna fuck these Sacramento niggas up. I never went out there with that mentality. To me, it was like, if you cool with me, I'm cool with you. You feel me? And that's just how it was. So do you think a lot of these people get pushed out of the Bay Area because of the gentrification or because of the violence, or both?
I'd say all of the above. Somebody's parents think they're doing them a better a service. We're going to buy a bigger house or afford better rent. But they move into a school that they're the new kid. Or they move into a neighborhood that has a lot of white people, or already has a lot of Chicanos with gangbanging. So they fall back into the urban ghetto mentality of survival. Survival of the fittest. And being an outsider.
So what do you think is the solution, not only to PTSD, but to helping our youth and prevent them from further joining gangs, the Norteños, Sureños, Border Brothers, Latin Kings, etc.? What are the solutions that could help prevent them from joining these organizations and going down a rabbit hole, or a life of crime, drugs? You know, and we know that every story is different. Some people come from broken homes, from bad families, but some don't. So what is the solution? Because I'm more about fixing the puzzle instead of just throwing the puzzle and say, screw that. You know what I mean? So what do you think is the long-term solution to help out some of these youth? And does getting more in touch with your indigenous side, breaking free from colonialism, from a colonial mentality, and all of the above, do you think, and not just that, jobs, resources, what do you think can help our people change and our youth not go down the same rabbit holes that some of us went through?
I would say there's no simple answer, but education is key. If you have somebody educated about loving themselves, about knowing who they are, where they want to go, and they're busy in school, or they're busy in sports or gym membership, or they're working with a community group, they have a purpose. Without a purpose, a person just goes through life doing things, kicking it, loafing, fucking up to no good. Without a strong family support system or strong foundation, you can't build up. You're on a shack, you're homeless, you're on the street. So knowing their economy, budgeting themselves, loving themselves is the first step. And to know that you have a problem and that you got to get better at working through things out and not resort to violence. I'm not saying be a punk with the mini skirt, but I'm saying pick and choose your battles. If you're so willing to fight or blast somebody out in the streets, be willing to apply for a job or work for City Hall or go to the university. Take all that energy and anger and turn that negative into a positive.
Basically, break out of your comfort zone in many ways.
That's right.
And what do you think is the solution to PTSD in the hoods and getting people to realize they have it and work on changing it or getting help?
Community action. Volunteering your time at your house, cutting the yard, volunteering your time in your community, helping the old lady get groceries, volunteering your time to your village, to your tribe, and making yourself of service to others.
And what helped me, and we gotta wrap it up because of time, but what helped me a lot, and I want to see what your take on it is. What helped me is learning about the Chicano movement, getting in touch with my indigenous aspect, getting in touch with my Chicanismo, with that whole Chicano movement, and all that stuff helped me develop to who I am now and get me away from the streets of Oakland or wherever I was at the time, because I moved around, and not get caught up in drugs and not get caught up in gangs, even though I affiliated with a lot of gangs and drug dealers and street criminals, because I am from the streets. But I learned that there's more than just the streets. Through breaking free of having a colonial mindset, learning about the Chicano movement, learning about the indigenous ancestors, learning about what the Spaniards did to our people, and even what the whites did, the Anglos did later on. So what's your take on youth learning more about that and getting in touch with the Chicano movement and their indigenous roots and even African roots in some cases?
Stop being a follower, be a leader. Use better discretion, think things out, and know that you're the maker of your life. Be ready to live and not ready to die. Be ready to think things out and understand that there's a better tomorrow. What you're going through right now is temporary.
Yeah.
But tomorrow is another day. You start fresh. Don't take things so personal.
But what I'm saying is, what do you think about that? About them picking up a book about Chicano history or Native American history and learning about that?
Getting a book, reading a book or a magazine, having a subscription, go to the library is not for nerds. Researching stuff is not for geniuses. Sit down and do something and find out who your people are. Ask your parents. Learn about yourself. Love yourself.
Exactly. All right, man. Well, that was it. Because of time, it was a good discussion with the homie. Any last words you want to give before I shut it down?
I say the last words that I want to throw to somebody that's teeter-totting between drugs and crime and gangs and stuff is think about your choices, think about your options, and don't be quick to react.
All right, and how do you like the Bay Area, Hayward, Oakland, and San Francisco?
It's cool. It's got its nice places if you have money, but if you're in poverty, life's miserable.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? All right, Mazatl, it was good talking to you, and hopefully we could do another interview in the future. And this is Jose with Oakland Latinos United. Like I said, I'm going to try to bring more guests out here in beautiful Hayward on a beautiful sunny day. Just kicking back in the Bay. Talk to you guys later. Late.